Okay, some news. Those of you living in Ireland or visiting Ireland, next Saturday afternoon I shall be doing a talk on the importance of fairy folklore and fate and connected to megaliths and so on in none other place than Pat Noon's farm in West Galway. You know, Pat Noon, I had him interviewed on BR313. He has the farm that's famous for amazing fairy sightings and people from all over the world visiting. And so it'll be in Pat's farm. So like that's an experience in itself. And you get to see me and some other couple of other speakers. And that's next Saturday afternoon in West Galway. Okay. So if you're in the west of Ireland, or even the east of Ireland, the motorway from Dublin gets you out there in like under 2 hours. You know, it's not in the sticks. It's very accessible, even though it's in the countryside. Come along and say hello. We'll have a ton of fun. It'll be some lovely people there, and it'll be a nice vibe. It'll be like the Two of the Dannon thing down in Cork. But it'll be a bit more mythological, things to do with dowsing, fairy folklore, all kinds of things. You'll love it. You'll have a great time. Perfect for a midsummer event. So that's next Saturday at Pat Noon's farm. And also, don't forget the Ancient Mysteries Conference in St. Anne's, which is it's in Blackpool basically. It's just a suburb of Blackpool in Lancashire in England in September 2nd and 3rd, I think that is. Not only will you have me as the MC, and you'll have Neil, we have the debut of the Pendle film. Sarah will be there as a punter, but she'll also hopefully have our book as well to debut, the Hocus Focus book. And also, you have Greg Moffat from Legalized Freedom will be doing a talk on hauntology and cinema. I'm really looking forward to that one. Another friend of mine, Jason Hoppenstall, will be doing a talk on the megaliths of Western Denmark, which we don't have enough interest, in these islands. We haven't got enough information on. That's like the Scandinavian megaliths are seriously interesting. And my friend Jack Roberts down in Galway is a member of some group in Sweden, and he's given me a couple of books and stuff. And the megaliths in Scandinavia, including Finland, are really, really amazing, and we don't hear enough about them. So Jason will be addressing that about the ones, and he lived in Denmark for years, and he speaks Danish, and he loves ancient sites, and so that'll be great. And with other people there as well, we'll have Neil Rushton and Kate from Hare and the Hawthorn. That channel you've seen me on, that they just wonderful stuff they cover on that to do with fairy folklore and stuff like that. And it'll be a lovely atmosphere and a lovely day and a lovely weekend. And it'll be done in such a way. St. Anne's is a tourist centre, so there's loads of pubs and stuff. So we have to hang out in the evening and have a good laugh, chat about things, and share our ideas. Important. And you get to see how quickly I can knock back a pint of Boddingtons. So come to St. Anne's in England in September 2nd and 3rd, and come to Pat Noon's farm in East Galway next Saturday afternoon. It's an all-day thing, but I'm on in the afternoon. So I'm really looking forward to that, actually. And meeting Pat and hanging out with all those guys down there. So, yeah, I heard a wonderful story just the other day. A young lady from Waterford who was working on an archaeological project. There was an apple tree in this old abbey, and it was literally on its last leg. It was an ancient apple tree, and they managed to save the seeds from it before it finally gave up the ghost. And they did a genetic study on the seeds, and they found out that it was the only apple tree of its kind that they could look on in Ireland. And not only that, it was the only apple tree in its kind they could find anywhere. And it was like a sacred apple tree. Now, apples are, along with hazelnuts, are very common in Irish mythology, and especially the source of the Shannon. There's rumor that one of the legends and mythologies of the source of the Shannon is that it's an underground pool where the goddess Shiana is birthed from, and it's filled within the pool swirls apples, salmon, and hazelnuts. But anyway, they did a genetic testing on it and discovered that it came from where else? The Languedoc in France, where I just got back from. And it was probably brought to Ireland by the Knights Templar. Now, if you don't know, the Knights Templar had a big effect in certain part of Ireland. They, in Waterford, Carlow, and Kilkenny. In fact, after the purge by King Philippe and the execution of Jacques de Morlaix, there were bishops in all over Europe complaining that Knights Templars were still walking around in Kilkenny City in non-secular garb, meaning they were still wearing the white cross thing on their under their armor, or that thing over the armor, the red cross, sorry, on the white background. And they were very heavily connected with the ports of Waterford and the ports of New Ross, the River Nore and the River Barrow. And the legacy of the Templars down there existed probably to this day. These ports were main import sites for wine and olive oil and things from the eastern from Europe. Waterford and Kilkenny, they imported enormous amounts of wine from the Mediterranean and France. And this wine was not only just for Irish consumption, but it was also a kind of like a Singapore of the Middle Ages, where the wine was then distributed to other places. That went right on up until like the 19th, 20th century, the wine thing. So this apple tree was brought, the seeds were brought by a Knights Templar from the Languedoc to Waterford in Ireland, and it's managed to be saved, which I think is a beautiful metaphor from concerning my last video. Now they've also discovered that the actual species of apple, which they've actually renamed it something like Irish Knights Templar. That's the name of the species. They've named the apple in the Irish sort of like horticultural books, Irish Knights Templar. That's the name of the apple now, because they've saved the seeds. And they actually think the seed originated in the Middle East around Jerusalem. So it probably came with the first Templars who came back from the Middle East, planted it in the Languedoc, and then brought seeds to Ireland to plant in Kilkenny and Waterford and County Carlow. So I thought that was a beautiful metaphor, considering my last video about the continuation of civilization. And also part of the remarkable synchronicities I've been having this week. So there you go. Okay, and there's something magical. And then you have the blue apples in the chateau. You know, just never stops, does it? And then Lucifer's pentacle in the middle of the apple seeds. Eve, serpent. You know, all this stuff goes on. The River Shannon. So there you go. So come along to Pat Noon's farm next Saturday. It'll be brilliant. It'll be like the Two of the Dannon thing. That'll be that atmosphere, and a beautiful Irish midsummer event on folklore, dowsing, magic, mystery, fairies, the lot, and a bit of fun as well. So some very lovely people. So, and then the Mysterious Air Conference in September in St. Anne's near Blackpool in the north of England. So, how's about them apples?